7 Secrets to Sustainably Heating, Cooling a Skoolie or Van. One of the major concerns for anyone building a bus or van is staying warm in the winter and cool in the summer. We naturally tend to go north for the warmer months and south for the colder months, but it doesn't always work out perfectly that way. We wanted to design our bus to be comfortable in just about any weather condition. Throughout researching and building Magpie the bus, we've learned that heating and cooling all starts with insulation. Quality insulation is absolutely essential to building any home, but it is especially important in a tiny home, and even more important in a home on wheels. However, in addition to the best quality insulation, we have lots of special tips for moderating temperatures inside a skoolie or van conversion. As you move through different climates and weather conditions, everything in your bus or van will be expanding and contracting with the different temperatures, humidity levels, and elevations. If you are building in a skoolie or other metal-framed vehicle, you have the added challenge that your home is a metal box and metal is an excellent heat conductor. The metal itself gets scorching hot and freezing cold quite quickly, so an insulating airspace, like wool, as well as something to block thermal bridging, explained below, will make a huge difference for interior temperature moderation. Though we work and recreate predominantly outdoors, the bus needs to be at a continuously moderated level for our dogs, while we are farming, as well as for our plants, food, water, and books. I would guess that the interior temperature is between 60 and 75 degrees most of the time, which is comfortable and safe for our dogs and living space. I want to share with you all a few of our strategies that have allowed us to achieve these goals, so let's dig in. 1. Wool insulation under the floor, walls, and ceiling. Read our full blog post here. Sheep wool insulation was by far the best decision we made for our school bus conversion. It makes a huge difference in temperature moderation as well as immensely reduced toxin loads within our tiny home. The wool keeps warm air in or out depending on the season. It also readily expands and contracts with changing climates, without slumping or causing structural issues. Given that we built our bus in the extremely moist winter climate of the Pacific Northwest, we absolutely needed something that would not mold or hold allergens. Fortunately, sheep wool is completely mold resistant without any additives. A small amount of borax is also added to the bats to ensure no bugs or insects can survive inside. Unlike other toxic conventional insulations, our metal roof never accumulates moisture beneath the wool. I check it all the time. Condensation is a major issue in buses and vans, so it is absolutely wonderful to not have that worry. In fact, it absorbs moisture when it's humid and then slowly re-releases it back into the home environment when it's dry, contributing to that nice moderated indoor climate. Think about it, this moisture wicking capability is exactly why merino wool is so popular for socks or base layers. It is completely fire resistant with absolutely zero carcinogenic flame retardants or formaldehyde. We've tried setting it on fire before. It doesn't work thanks to the naturally occurring sheep wool properties. The key to quality insulation is airspace between the exterior, metal, fiberglass, or glass frame, and the interior, wood or other siding. Our wool bats are 2 inches thick everywhere they're installed. We go into great detail in our other blog posts about the amazing benefits of wool insulation, so I will link those here if you want to learn more. Havelock wool is our go-to for insulation, not only because of their extraordinary quality, amazing customer service, and all-around sustainable commitment, but also for their affordable VanLife insulation bags. One bag of R7 wool bats covering 100 square feet at 2 inches thick, 24 pounds, is just $120. We use 2 bags in our bus at a total of $240 for 200 square feet. Please use our affiliate link if you'd like to purchase from Havelock Wool, and we will receive a small kickback at no additional cost to you. 2. Wooden studs along metal beams to prevent thermal bridging. Thermal bridging is a common phenomenon in tiny homes like buses and vans. It's basically when the exterior metal surface conducts heat or cold through the internal beam structure. If not properly addressed, you will feel a cold spot on your wood ceiling where the beam is on a wintry cold night. Multiply this over your entire ceiling and a lot of your insulation efforts become futile, letting in the heat or cold that you are trying to keep out. In our bus, we used thin, 1/4 of an inch, plywood pieces to cover all of the metal beams and stop the thermal bridging effect. An added bonus was that this acted as a sub-ceiling, which made it much easier to anchor our ceiling panels to wood rather than drilling through steel every time. Note, we definitely should have made our studs thinner to prevent warping. The wood pieces pictured are 6 inches wide, ceramic insulative paint on the roof. While insulating from the inside makes a massive difference in temperature moderation, insulting from the outside adds an extra barrier. A ceramic-based paint called Bus Coat was a game changer. It is made by high-tech thermal solutions. Completed roof paint job took down the interior temperatures at least 15 degrees on this triple-digit summer day. Completed roof paint job took down the interior temperatures at least 15 degrees on this triple-digit summer day. Their website description says Bus Coat is a bright white, acrylic elastomeric, insulating ceramic, waterproof coating designed specifically for buses and recreational vehicles. This high-build rubber-like coating waterproofs, insulates, soundproofs, beautifies and protects with a ceramic shield that expands and contracts with varying hot and cold temperatures plus resists thermal shock. Bus Coat offers superior mildew resistance and ultraviolet ray reflectivity. The paint is regularly used on RVs, buses, and even the NASA space station. Some school districts use this to protect their bus roofs, so if you're lucky, your school bus might already have bus. The paint is regularly used on RVs, buses, and even the NASA space station. Some school districts use this to protect their bus roofs, so if you're lucky, your school bus might already have Bus Coat paint on the roof. We bought 4 gallons, which was more than enough for 2 coats on the roof and front area, and left over for future touch-ups or additions. At $39.50 a gallon, I'd say it's pretty damn affordable for the benefits it has provided. When we painted the roof it was a triple-digit day, and I'm not lying folks. We walked back in the bus as it was drying and noticed a drastic 10-15 degree drop in temperature. And that was before the bus interior was even insulated at all. Bus Coat is the real deal and we will certainly use it on all future vehicles. Bonus, the Bus Coat paint makes the roof into a gripping and non-slippery surface, meaning it is much safer to walk around on the roof of the bus to adjust solar panels or watch the sunset. Paint on the roof. Cheap DIY reflective and insulating window covers. We opted to keep most of our bus windows exposed for panoramic views, yet this created a conundrum for keeping the bus warm or cool. Like any home, most of the heat or cold escapes through the windows. Creating these simple insulated window covers have been crucial to our comfort. They are just like those reflective windshield, dashboard covers, only custom fit for your specific window size. In the future, we hope to upgrade to wool window coverings as well, however we haven't had the time or access to a sewing machine to do that, so this was our next best option. While they aren't the prettiest, they get the job done. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice aesthetics for functionality. The process is simple and cheap. Get a roll of Reflectix, some heavy-duty duct tape, we used black, and an old sheet. Cut your Reflectix to the size of your window, or slightly larger so it can tuck under the window frame. Cut your fabric to the same size as the Reflectix and duct tape around the border. We hand sewed a few areas in the center of the window covering to hold everything together. And that's it. You can face the reflective side outwards on hot days, to reflect sunlight and heat, or face the silver inwards on cold nights. It will reflect heat, light to keep the interior warmer while allowing sunshine from outside the window to be absorbed. 5. High-powered fans throughout the bus. Not all fans are created equal. We did a ridiculous amount of research and digging for the ideal high-powered DC, direct current, fans to use in our bus. Because these fans have built-in switches, we could easily wire them into our solar system behind the upper shelves. We also have an auxiliary fan that can plug into the lighter and clip to the dash to keep airflow in the front. The fan by our bed is called Camframo Sirocco and is pretty nice for a sleeping area since it is super quiet and has 4-speed options. It also can be used on a 12V or 24V system, meaning it doesn't have to go through our inverter. However, with its plastic body and hefty price tag, $100, I don't know if we'd buy it again. Our favorite fan is the super high power, heavy-duty steel fan found here. It is technically an auxiliary defrost fan similar to the one we have up front, but it is strong and creates a really nice draft on both the low and high settings. We love the steel frame and the way it can be mounted beneath the upper cabinets or at a side angle. Of course, it is quite loud due to its power, but who cares about noise when it's 100 degrees outside? It is also 12V and able to swivel around. We used the steel fan in combination with our Max Air roof fan during the hottest of days last summer. Parked in partial shade with the insulated window covers on every single window, our dogs stayed super comfortable, zero panting, on triple-digit days while we were in the fields farming. We keep a window cracked behind the reflective window covers to ensure a nice draft and airflow. It worked perfectly. 6. Strategic parking. Perhaps it goes without saying, but where you park your bus or van is obviously going to drastically affect the interior temperature. Finding shady trees or non-concrete parking areas has been a very useful tactic for us. On a hot summer's day, we search for parking in the grass beneath large trees, or if that's not available, at least in the shadow of a building or structure. The toss-up here is of course solar exposure. The sunshine rapidly heats the metal bus exterior, but it also charges our batteries via our solar panels. 7. Tiny wood stove. Our miniature wood stove has gotten Magpie the bus a lot of attention online and at tiny house festivals. It is indeed one of our favorite elements of our tiny home on wheels. It creates such a cozy cabin-like atmosphere in the autumn and winter months. It also helps keep our wood interior nice and dry. Fortunately, the wool insulation does most of that work otherwise. We can warm our hands by the stove after farming all day in the cold, dry our wet jackets, and heat coffee, tea on top. Not to mention it is super aesthetically pleasing and the dogs look so cute cuddled up next to it on a cold evening. Another thing that's awesome about the wood stove is its compatibility with an off-grid lifestyle. We spend the bulk of our time on rural farms or far out in the wilderness. We love being able to use wood scraps from cabinetry shops or gather small pieces of wood from the forest floor. Since it only takes small 6 inches diameter or less wood pieces, it is an extremely sustainable and efficient option for cold winter days and nights. That being said, the wood stove was absolutely one of the most challenging parts of our conversion. We didn't end up installing the stove until nearly a year after we moved in. It was that daunting. However, once we got started it really wasn't so bad. There are lots of resources available from Tiny Wood Stove and they provided excellent customer service during our install. I will write a more in-depth blog post on our wood stove installation soon because there are a lot of nuances to the topic. For now, I will mention that we purchased our stove from the Canadian company Cubic Mini Wood Stoves in the beginning of our build and didn't realize until later down the line that we had chosen the wrong option. Not only was our stove too small to effectively heat the space, but the international shipping created a nightmare for trying to exchange and upgrade to the larger model. We went through hell to return the smaller cub and purchase the Grizzly. At the time, they didn't even offer an exit kit, flue pipe, rain boot, ceiling plate, etc., though they have since added it to their product line. Their competitor company Tiny Wood Stove was a lifesaver for us. They offered to send us their modified roof vent pieces to try with the competitor stove, as well as coached us through the whole installation process with their extraordinary customer service. In the future, we will definitely only purchase from Idaho-based tiny wood stove to avoid all these complications and get much higher quality products. All that aside, we now love our Grizzly wood stove. It is completely safe and secure. This wood stove fan has made a big difference to distribute the heat throughout the bus. There have been no issues whatsoever with fire risk because we closely followed the heat shield guidelines set forth by Tiny Wood Stove. They have amazing installation resources on their website. We are super warm, sometimes we have to open windows, and crazy cozy with this wood stove option. Honestly, I would never live in any tiny home without a wood stove after this experience. No, we obviously do not use it when we're driving. For some reason people ask this question a lot. No, we don't know about your insurance company's opinion of the wood stove, never had a problem. And yes, we feel 100% safe with our wood stove, in fact, far safer than propane or other explosive heating options. What about a mini heater? If you don't have the time or money for a wood stove, a Mr. Heater Buddy is probably your next best option. We have this heater to use on mornings when we don't have time to start a fire and just need some quick warmth. The major downside is that it cranks through those tiny propane cans really quick. The cans aren't only horrible for the environment, since they can't be recycled or refilled, but they can also become quite expensive if you're relying on them for your only heat source. We've seen many other vans and buses with propane-powered heating systems, but we opted to avoid this complexity due to our dislike of extra fossil fuels and the risk of explosion. I'm sure there are plenty of articles out there about safely and efficiently using these types of heaters, but we've found that the other methods we described work best for us. What about AC? Our 2008 school bus came with an excellent air conditioning system when the bus is on, so it is lovely for driving on hot days. As for when we are parked, we've found that AC units are really energy consumptive and frankly unnecessary. Some buses and vans have certainly pulled off installation of air conditioning units by using the aforementioned strategic parking to their advantage. What I mean is, you only need an AC on the hottest of sunny days, which means you will have maximum solar energy to power your AC. That being said, air conditioning units can be a strain on your batteries and inverter, not to mention they are heavy, cumbersome, and require maintenance. Closing thoughts. For many folks, heating, cooling-related issues are key impediments to making the shift to bus or van life. After all the research and testing we've done, the 7 products we outlined above have made bus life extremely comfortable for us. Having lived out of several junkyard vans and tattered backpacks, Magpie the bus is in fact luxurious, no matter the weather. If you enjoyed reading this free RF Ultimate Guide and found our information useful, please consider contributing a couple bucks to via Venmo at Ramblin' Farmers or by joining our Patreon membership to support our educational efforts. Starting at as little as $1 a month, that's $12 a year, you can receive a range of awesome rewards and exclusive access to our RF Insider series. We put a lot of time and effort into these offerings and we'd love to continue providing this type of assistance to aspiring tiny dwellers and aspiring farmers alike. Best of luck in your heating, cooling adventures and thanks for